Have you ever woken up in the morning and felt like your body betrayed you overnight? The joints that once carried you with ease now feel stiff, achy, and swollen, as though invisible weights have been strapped to your knees, hips, and hands. Arthritis has a way of stealing not just comfort, but independence, making everyday moments like opening a jar or walking up the stairs feel like uphill battles. But what if I told you the foods sitting quietly in your pantry could become some of your greatest allies in this fight? I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. Today I want to reveal three humble but extraordinary pulses, foods so common they're often overlooked, that have the power to help destroy arthritis pain naturally. Backed by science, rich in nutrients, and easy to enjoy, they may just change the way your joints feel and move. When I think of kidney beans, I don't just picture the bright red, kidney-shaped little legumes you might toss into a chili or stew. I think of a patient of mine, Margaret. She's 72, a retired school teacher, and for years she struggled with arthritis that made her hands so stiff she could barely write a note to her grandchildren. She came to me frustrated, saying, "Dr. Brian, I just don't want to be a burden. I want to be able to hold a pen again, to cook a simple meal, to feel like myself." Her story is one I hear all too often. Arthritis can make people feel like they're slowly losing their independence. But what if food, simple everyday food, could help give that back? That's where kidney beans step in. These little beans are far more than just filler for soups. Inside, they're packed with nutrients that act almost like a quiet army, working to soothe inflammation and rebuild strength. One of the most powerful is folate, also known as vitamin B9. Now, I know that sounds like just another vitamin, but here's why it matters. Folate helps regulate something in the blood called homocysteine. Think of homocysteine as little sparks that can ignite inflammation in the body. When sparks are left unchecked, they burn. And in the case of arthritis, they burn in the joints, leading to pain and swelling. Folate works like a gentle fire extinguisher, calming those sparks before they cause damage. Margaret began adding kidney beans into her diet 3 times a week, and while she still needed her morning stretches, she noticed her fingers didn't swell as often, and writing became less of a chore. Protein is another gift kidney beans offer. For people living with arthritis, one hidden challenge is muscle loss. When your joints hurt, you move less. And when you move less, your muscles weaken. It's a vicious cycle. Weaker muscles mean more pressure on your joints, which means more pain. Kidney beans are rich in plant-based protein, which helps repair and rebuild muscle. Imagine your muscles as scaffolding around a fragile building. If the scaffolding is strong, the building feels supported. In the same way, strong muscles support the joints, easing the strain. And let's talk about fiber. Most people don't realize how connected gut health and joint health are. But the truth is, inflammation often begins in the gut. If the gut is out of balance, the whole body feels it. The soluble fiber in kidney beans feeds the good bacteria in your gut. Think of them like gardeners, planting seeds of calm in your digestive system. A healthier gut sends fewer inflammatory signals through the bloodstream, which means your joints experience less of that systemic fire. One recent review in the journal Nutrients highlighted how diets high in fiber were linked to lower markers of inflammation in older adults. It's fascinating to see science confirming what so many of my patients experience. When the gut feels better, the joints do too. But that's not where kidney beans stop. They also bring magnesium, which relaxes muscles and supports bone health. If you've ever felt that heavy stiffness in the morning, magnesium works like a gentle oil, allowing joints to glide a little more smoothly. Iron is another mineral inside these beans, helping keep energy levels steady. Anyone with arthritis knows how draining chronic pain can be. It's not just the joints that ache, it's the fatigue that seeps into your day. Iron supports red blood cells, carrying oxygen through the body, fueling you to keep moving. Now here's a piece I find particularly exciting. Kidney beans are loaded with polyphenols, plant compounds that act as antioxidants. Antioxidants are like shields, protecting the joints from oxidative stress, the silent wear and tear caused by free radicals in the body. Over time, oxidative stress contributes to cartilage damage. By bringing in antioxidants, you're essentially giving your joints armor, protecting them for the years ahead. Add to this the fact that kidney beans have a low glycemic index, meaning they don't cause dramatic spikes in blood sugar, and you've got a food that keeps inflammation calm and steady. The beauty of kidney beans is how easy they are to use. For Margaret, we kept it simple, adding them to salads with chopped veggies, stirring them into soups, even blending them into a bean dip with garlic and lemon. The key was consistency. She didn't overhaul her whole diet overnight, but she did begin to make one small change at a time. Over the months, her strength returned bit by bit, and most importantly, her hope did too. She once told me, "I feel like I have a little more control again." And that's the heart of it. Food like kidney beans doesn't just provide nutrients, it provides empowerment. It reminds us that even small, humble choices can send powerful messages to the body. Messages of healing, of resilience, of renewal. So the next time you see a bag of kidney beans at the store, I want you to think of them not just as ingredients, but as quiet allies in your journey toward joint pain relief. They may be simple, but they're mighty. If kidney beans are the quiet warriors of joint health, then chickpeas are the steady companions. Always reliable, always nourishing, and always surprising with what they can do. I think of George, a 68-year-old former mechanic who came to see me after years of battling arthritis in his knees. He told me with a half smile, "Doc, I used to bend over an engine all day. Now I can't even bend down to tie my shoes without wincing." George had tried medications, creams, even injections. But what wore him down most wasn't just the pain. It was the way it limited his life. He longed to take long walks with his wife again, to kneel down in the garden, to feel freedom in his movements. That's when we talked about a simple, underestimated food that could make a difference. Chickpeas. Now, chickpeas, also called garbanzo beans, are one of those foods you might pass by in the grocery aisle, not realizing the treasure inside. At first glance, they're just little beige nuggets, but inside they hold a rich balance of nutrients that make them especially powerful for arthritis pain relief. Let's start with their protein. Unlike red or processed meats, which can worsen inflammation, chickpeas provide clean, plant-based protein that fuels the muscles without burdening the joints. Think of protein like the bricks in a wall. Without enough bricks, the wall crumbles. Without enough protein, the muscles weaken, leaving the joints vulnerable. George began adding chickpeas into his weekly meals, and over time he noticed his legs felt sturdier, like they had more strength to support him. The pain didn't vanish, but the burden lightened. And then there's fiber. Once again, we come back to the gut, that silent conductor of inflammation. The fiber in chickpeas feeds beneficial bacteria, creating harmony inside the digestive system. A healthy gut reduces the number of inflammatory signals that ripple through the body, meaning the knees, hips, and hands experience fewer flare-ups. In fact, researchers in the Journal of Nutrition found that diets rich in fiber were associated with lower levels of C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation. This isn't just theory, it's a connection you can feel in the body, as George did when his swelling started to ease. But chickpeas also bring minerals to the table that are uniquely suited to people over 50. One of them is manganese, a mineral many overlook. Manganese is like the quiet carpenter inside the body, helping to build strong bones and connective tissue. Without it, the scaffolding weakens. With it, the joints are supported and reinforced. Alongside manganese comes magnesium, that magical mineral that eases stiffness and muscle cramps. If you've ever woken up in the morning feeling like your body is locked in place, magnesium is what helps turn the key. Chickpeas provide this mineral generously, offering a natural way to help joints move more freely. Another reason I recommend chickpeas is their effect on blood sugar. High blood sugar levels act like gasoline poured onto the fire of inflammation. Every spike makes the flames of arthritis burn hotter. Chickpeas, with their low glycemic index, release energy slowly and steadily, avoiding those spikes. That means less fuel for inflammation and more balance in the body. George, who also struggled with prediabetes, noticed his energy became steadier when chickpeas became part of his regular meals. Instead of the afternoon crash that left him too tired to move, he found himself with enough energy to go for a walk. Now here's something remarkable. Chickpeas contain compounds called saponins, powerful antioxidants that actively reduce inflammation and protect against oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is like rust forming on metal. It weakens and damages tissue over time. Saponins act like a protective coating, slowing the rust, preserving the structure of the joints. This isn't just about comfort today, but about long-term protection for tomorrow. What makes chickpeas so practical is their versatility. You can roast them into a crunchy snack, toss them into salads, stir them into soups, or blend them into hummus. One of George's favorites became a chickpea salad with olive oil, lemon juice, parsley, and a sprinkle of turmeric. He called it his joint-saving lunch. Simple, delicious, and every ingredient working together to fight inflammation. And because chickpeas are so filling, thanks to their fiber and protein, they also help with weight control. Carrying extra weight puts more pressure on the knees and hips. Every pound lost is like lifting 4 pounds of stress off the joints. Over time, George shed 10 pounds without even trying, just by swapping processed snacks for chickpeas and other wholesome foods. His knees felt lighter, his steps a little freer. The best part? Chickpeas are affordable and accessible. Whether you buy them canned or dried, they're one of the most budget-friendly allies you can invite into your kitchen. If you do go with canned, a quick rinse removes the excess sodium, leaving you with clean, nourishing fuel for your body. George appreciated that he didn't have to spend a fortune to feel better. He just had to make small, consistent choices. And the ripple effect was profound. With less pain, he started walking more. With more walking, his mood lifted. With a brighter mood, his marriage blossomed again. Sometimes healing begins not with a new pill, but with a new plate. So the next time you see chickpeas, don't underestimate them. They're not just bland beans. They're small, mighty packages of healing, working quietly inside the body to ease stiffness, protect bones, calm inflammation, and restore energy. For George, they became more than food. They became a stepping stone back to freedom. And for you, they could be the same. Of all the pulses, lentils may look the most unassuming. Tiny, flat, and often sold in big bags for just a few dollars, they don't draw much attention on the shelf. Yet when I think about lentils, I remember Susan, a 70-year-old grandmother who used to volunteer at her church every weekend. Arthritis had crept into her life slowly, first as a little stiffness in her fingers, then as swelling in her knees, until one day she told me, "Dr. Brian, I feel like I've turned into glass. Every movement feels like it might shatter me." She missed kneading dough for her famous homemade bread, and she missed walking hand in hand with her granddaughter to the park. We talked about many lifestyle changes, but one of the simplest and one she could embrace without feeling overwhelmed was adding lentils into her meals. The results surprised even her. What makes lentils so special is their balance of protein and fiber. If protein is the scaffolding that keeps the joints supported, fiber is the broom that sweeps inflammation out of the body. Soluble fiber, the kind lentils are rich in, feeds the beneficial bacteria in the gut. That means fewer inflammatory messengers circulating in the blood, fewer flare-ups, and calmer joints. Insoluble fiber keeps digestion running smoothly, helping the body eliminate waste that can otherwise contribute to systemic stress. For Susan, whose digestion often left her bloated and uncomfortable, lentils didn't just support her joints, they helped her whole body feel lighter and calmer. But lentils bring something else to the table: antioxidants. Now, when I explain antioxidants to my patients, I often compare oxidative stress to the way a car rusts over time when left out in the rain. The joints, like the car's frame, are exposed to free radicals, those unstable molecules that chip away at cartilage and tissue. Over the years, this rusting accelerates arthritis damage. Antioxidants, found in abundance in lentils, act like a protective wax coating on that car, shielding the joints from wear and tear. This isn't just poetic, it's backed by science. Research published in Food and Function has shown that polyphenols in lentils help reduce inflammatory markers, offering genuine protection against arthritis progression. Magnesium is another reason lentils shine. This mineral is often called nature's relaxant. It calms the nervous system, eases muscle tension, and allows for smoother, more fluid movement in the joints. Susan used to describe her mornings as clunky, like trying to start an old car on a winter's day. With magnesium-rich foods like lentils regularly in her diet, those clunky mornings became less frequent. Her muscles loosened, her joints felt less like rusty hinges, and she could rise from bed with greater ease. Blood sugar balance is another gift lentils provide. Just as with kidney beans and chickpeas, lentils have a low glycemic index, meaning they release energy slowly and evenly. Imagine a gentle stream flowing steadily instead of a flood crashing through. High spikes in blood sugar fuel inflammation, while steadiness calms it. For older adults, this balance is critical not just for arthritis, but also for overall energy and focus. Susan noticed that when lentils became a staple, she no longer experienced those afternoon crashes that left her too tired to move. Instead, she had the stamina to play with her granddaughter again. Now, some people worry about gas or bloating with lentils, and that's a fair concern. But the solution is simple. Soak them before cooking and make sure they're thoroughly cooked. This breaks down the compounds that can cause discomfort. For Susan, who was hesitant at first, learning this trick made lentils not only manageable but enjoyable. Soon she was making lentil soup with carrots and celery, a lentil curry with turmeric and ginger, and even tossing lentils into salads with olive oil and fresh herbs. She laughed one day and said, "I thought I'd miss bread the most, but it turns out my new favorite comfort food is lentil stew." What I love about lentils is that they're accessible to everyone. They're inexpensive, widely available, and endlessly versatile. You don't need to be a master chef to enjoy them. A pot of lentil soup simmering on the stove can nourish the body, soothe inflammation, and remind you that healing can be both simple and delicious. And because lentils are so filling, they help with weight management, reducing the extra pressure carried on the knees and hips. For every pound shed, the joints breathe easier, and movement becomes lighter. For Susan, the shift was subtle at first, but it added up. A little less swelling, a little more energy, a little more confidence. Eventually, she was able to return to baking bread, albeit at a slower pace, and to walk to the park with her granddaughter without feeling fragile. She told me with tears in her eyes, "I feel sturdy again, like I'm not made of glass." And that, to me, is the real power of lentils. Not just in the nutrients they provide, but in the hope they restore. So don't overlook these tiny legumes. In every spoonful of lentils lies a promise. The promise of calmer joints, steadier energy, and renewed strength. For anyone over 50 living with arthritis, they can be a humble yet mighty step toward reclaiming joy and independence. If there's one message I hope you carry with you today, it's this. Healing doesn't always come in a bottle or a prescription pad. Sometimes it comes in the form of humble foods, kidney beans, chickpeas, and lentils, that hold the power to ease arthritis pain naturally, support mobility, and restore energy. Each meal becomes an opportunity to tell your body, "I am choosing healing." I'm Dr. Brian, and I want you to know it's never too late to feel stronger, steadier, and more hopeful. Take small, consistent steps and let food be part of your medicine.